And welcome back into the Veterans Memorial Arena here on this Friday night as Binghamton taking on the Adirondack Phantoms in a big East Division battle. I'm Grady Whittenburg, pleased to have with me Binghamton Senators enforcer Jeremy Yablonski. And Yabo getting back into the lineup this past weekend in games against Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and Springfield. Kind of getting back into the lineup, the All-Star break coming at a somewhat bad time as you've really, when you take a big look at the picture here, midway through the season, you played a very limited amount of games. But talk about how it felt to get back out there and get things restarted this past weekend.
It was just great, getting back in the lineup. It was frustrating, watching the team play and not being able to help out during the games and stuff. And, just bag skating, stay in shape every day. It was frustrating. So now just to get back in the lineup, into the games, and out in the ice with the guys, it's just a great feeling.
Just want to touch briefly, and you were out of the lineup on that suspension from that December 12th game against Syracuse. And you're not a player that typically has a history of suspensions. Maybe the emotions got a little bit the best of you, but is it kind of a fine line when you're the enforcer and knowing that you have to have that emotional edge, but yet putting it in check from time to time as well?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you got to watch what you do. I mean, the league called my suspension. It is what it is. But usually I go out there. I do what I have to do. But I mean, and there's times you got to hold stuff back because you can't go jumping off benches or do anything radical out there. But I'll go after somebody when they deserve it. If somebody takes liberties against my team, I'll do what it takes to protect my team.
You'll leave the jumping off the bench to Cody Bash for the time being. We'll get him back in the lineup tomorrow night when the Bridgeport Sound Tigers come to town as he's serving a 6-game suspension that concludes this evening as well. Getting back into action this past weekend, disappointed. You didn't have any dance partners out there. A lot of chirping, I think, particularly in the game Saturday night with the Springfield Falcons, but didn't get anybody to drop the gloves with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first night, Wilkes-Barre, I mean, we kind of just took over the game physically. I mean, nobody wanted to do anything. I was kind of surprised. But, I think if that happens to us, we try and, get out there and mix it up and get the team going. Springfield, they just had a lot of guys that want to talk. Nobody wanted to dance. But it didn't surprise me. They didn't really have too much in the lineup. The one Nickerson, but he didn't play too much. They had Theo Peckham out there running his mouth, but that's about all he's good for. So I didn't worry about him too much.
Sticking with kind of the aspect, obviously an enforcer, you do a lot of the talking with your fist, but you can also go out there, had the game-winning goal in the season opener against the Hartford Wolfpack, but you're a player that maybe makes even more of an impact when you're not dropping the gloves and taking on the opposition's tough guy. Big hits. And in a barn like this, you can really rattle the glass and pull the fans right into the game.
Yeah, definitely. Here it's good. We got the good soft glass, so you can run and not have to slow down in case you miss. But, that's a great part of the game. That's what I love. I love the physicalness of the game, and it's not always fighting. So it's hitting, it's running guys over, making room for the other guys I'm on the ice with.
Certainly that was a noticeable aspect of getting you back in the lineup on Friday night in that 3-0 win over the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. A couple of big first-period hits and getting the blood flowing and getting you back into the feel of things. You talk a little bit about the role of enforcer, and maybe it's different when you talk about it here at the American Hockey League or minor pro level as opposed to the NHL, but the role of the enforcer, and where do you see things kind of playing out over the next 5 to 10 years with regards to the aspect of the job that you excel at?
I mean, you're never going to get the physicalness. That's hockey. It's physical. It's emotional. So, you're going to need guys like us around, to keep other guys intact. I mean, you could see even when I wasn't in the lineup a few games, guys will start taking liberties. Somebody's going to get hurt. And, I mean, now being back in the game, I mean, nobody pushes our guys around. Just, even though I didn't have to fight, I was on the ice, and they know if they were to do something, I'm going to be out there. I think teams are going to need guys like that for as long as hockey's played, I think.
I remember the first off season when Binghamton first got back into the AHL back in 02-03. They had Ray Emery here, Brian McGrattan, two guys that trained together during the off season. McGrattan in particular, he came into the league and obviously his role I think was established. He was going to be a fighter, be an enforcer, but didn't show much in the way of balance. He did some off-season training, and I don't know if it was involved with MMA, but has that aspect helped your core training and offered some assistance and balance on the ice in your endeavors here?
I think it has. I mean, I started boxing when I was 10, 11 years old. I had 200 amateur boxing fights. It's something I've always done, so I think it's always helped me out along the way. I think some little bit, whether it's a balance or just the aspect of wanting to fight and not scared to take a punch and give a punch.
Talk about John Morasti, certainly one of the more memorable opponents that you've had here in your couple of seasons with the Binghamton Senators, and whenever you two drop the gloves, it seems to be always one of those highlights of the year for fans on the internet, and with technology nowadays, the fight's just so readily available. But talk about your background actually related to John Morasti, talk about the exact bloodlines there, and I would ask how difficult it is to drop the gloves against a family member, but you two have shown no qualms about doing it almost on a game-in, game-out basis.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me and him, it's our job. I mean, it's what we both love to do. I mean, when you're on the ice, loyalty's to the jersey. I mean, you could be, a brother, a best friend on the other team, but it doesn't matter. The loyalty's to the jersey, and that's the family on the ice. But me and Johnny, we're related through a marriage. Actually, we're not actually like really blood relatives, but we're kind of distant cousins. We grew up together, though. We played hockey together growing up. I mean, we went to school together. We fought in the old boxing club back home, Meadow Lake together. I mean, we pretty much done everything together growing up. So it's good. I mean, we can get at it on the ice and want to kill each other out there, but after the game, we can shake hands and laugh about it.
I asked you earlier about the role of enforcer. Sometimes maybe some old-time hockey people, they don't like what they would call staged fights, and maybe you talk with somebody that you're going to play beforehand and say, hey, first period, let's get this on. They don't mind fighting when it's spontaneous. Can you talk about how it kind of goes down, saying one of those spontaneous fights kind of takes care of itself? When you go out there, you line up in a face-off, what goes on? You lean over and you're having a couple of words, and what leads up to the fact that, hey, we're going to go here and give the fans something to talk about?
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, the team could be down a couple goals. Maybe we're down, 1 or 2 goals, 3 goals, and, we're not playing with a lot of energy. I'll go out, and try and spark the guys up, get a good fight, maybe try and knock somebody out. And when that happens, it seems to give your team a lift. I mean, that's just one of those things that you always see it. Somebody go out and a big fight will happen. All of a sudden, the whole team's playing hard. Just one of those energy things, and that's part of the job of being the enforcer.
Well, good stuff, Yabo. One of the fan favorites here. It's always good seeing you out there, and great to have you back in the lineup as well.
Well, it's great to be back in the lineup. Thank you.
Jeremy Yablonski, my first intermission guest. We'll take a timeout, and we'll be back with more from the Veterans Memorial Arena in downtown Binghamton after this on the Senators Hockey Network.